It seems like we've seen enough from Nintendo's cinematic universe to get an idea of what they're doing now. I wanted to wait until they officially shown off more of the Mario Galaxy movie before making these statements. I wanted to see like what happened with the whole DK thing before. But this is something that's been kicking around in my mind for a long time. Is that the Mario franchise, the mainline Mario movies are designed to spin off into other movie series. This is something that I think a lot of people have not realized and have not addressed and have not brought up because, when you look at like the Mario movie and you look at the Galaxy movie, there is like one very interesting thing here is that DK is not present. Like Donkey Kong does not seem to be in the Mario Galaxy movie. And a lot of people have not brought this up because I think it's getting buried by like all the discussion, all the new characters and what's going on, Pikmin, Star Fox and stuff like that. But Donkey Kong's not in it. And the reason for that, and everyone accepted this kind of immediately, is Nintendo is planning the Donkey Kong movie. Okay, Nintendo's in the early stages of producing the Donkey Kong movie. It's probably going to come out sometime after the Zelda one. We'll probably get an announcement for it in the next couple of years. I think we have seen signs of that in the industry for a long time. Like the theme park was built. We got Bonanza. It just seems reasonable, right? And people are kind of thinking that was a one-off thing. People were thinking that was like, oh yeah, it's Donkey Kong. That's like, kind of its own thing. It was in the Mario movie, but it makes sense for it to like have a real sequel with DK as the protagonist. Like, it all makes sense, okay? Everyone loved like Donkey Kong. Okay, so this is the fact of the matter, and this is what we're seeing with the Mario Galaxy movie is that we're seeing the same thing happen with Star Fox and Pikmin, in which they are featured rather prominently in the Mario Galaxy movie, and over time we'll get their spin-off series of their own. Honestly, in Star Fox cases, it's probably going to get like a video game first and then get a film, but like clearly the setup is there and clearly the intention is there. Like Nintendo is in the process of creating like their Mario cinematic universe in which other Nintendo characters appear in Mario movies in like, in meaningful roles and then spin off into their own independent film franchises. This is really interesting to me because it demonstrates how Nintendo is going to approach like their films going forward. In that, like, characters are going to show up and then like establish themselves as their own characters, and then segue off into their own films. So audiences will be familiar with them. They'll recognize them when the movies come out, and then eventually they'll pick up the games. Okay, this is the reality of it. Is because of this movie, Pikmin and Star Fox are going to be big, major household names. And considering what happened with Donkey Kong, after his appearance in the Super Mario Bros. Movie, where he got Bonanza, where he's, like, now considered, like, an A-list Nintendo character again, like, this is clearly a marketing push to try and promote actual upcoming video games. So I think it's reasonable to assume that, like, both Pikmin and Star Fox are going to be coming back, like, in full force on the Switch, too. So we're going to be seeing, like, Pikmin become bigger than ever, Star Fox make its glorious return, and hopefully become, like, a mainstay Nintendo franchise. And it's going to entirely be because of the Mario Galaxy movie. Like, it's not going to be like it was with Star Fox Zero, where, like, the community was gaslit into thinking that, like, Zero was this disaster of a game, and that, like, it was completely unplayable and a franchise killer. That was legit the argument that people had for Zero, is that it was so bad it killed the franchise. And until this happened, this was the line we were being force-fed, is that Star Fox is dead. It's never coming back. Kids don't care about it. Boomers hate the new games, right? This is a franchise that is never, ever coming back. And out of nowhere, out of the blue, we got this movie. We got this announcement. We're going to get games. We're going to get merch. We're probably going to get a spin-off film. And then Star Fox will once again be an A-list Nintendo franchise. You are delusional if you believe nothing's going to come of this. Okay, you are delusional if you believe nothing's going to come of Pikmin being in the Mario Galaxy movie. In fact, Pikmin's already been a rapidly growing franchise because of the Pikmin 4 and because of the re-releases and because of like the merch on the Nintendo store. Like Star Fox seems like it's on the verge of a major marketing push. And seeing just how positively this announcement has been received, like this is going to be a game changer, I think. This is going to be a big deal. This is, I think, the first example of Nintendo not only revitalizing a relatively dormant IP, but they're also demonstrating that like how strong their branding actually is. Because in spite of the narrative, Star Fox has remained a very popular Nintendo brand over the years. Not only because of the enduring popularity of the older games, but because of remakes like Star Fox 3D, which a lot of people downplay. The enduring popularity of Star Fox Zero, it's becoming more and more popular every year. And the simple fact of the matter that the series is incredibly recognizable due to its presence in Super Smash Bros. Star Fox 2 got released on the Super Nintendo. Starlink, that's one of my favorite pieces of Nintendo merch ever is that Star Fox controller thing. Again, the signs have been there that Nintendo was very invested in bringing Star Fox back over the past decade, and yet everybody ignored the signs. Everybody just said it was dead after Zero, that it was never going anywhere, and this is the end result of that. The most downplayed, hated Nintendo release ever, Star Fox Zero, has resulted in a feature-length movie that's going to almost certainly outgross the first. It's going to be a $2 billion film, probably. And that is mind-blowing for anybody to wrap their minds around, but this is not just going to be $1 billion release. It's not just going to be like Avatar, and then James Cameron just spends the rest of his life just talking about submarines for some fucking reason. No, you are going to be getting more and better movies off of this billion-dollar franchise. Okay, Star Fox is going to get a movie of its own. It's going to be a huge hit. It's going to get a game of its own. I would be shocked if it doesn't become the most successful Star Fox game ever. And it's going to become a tentpole Nintendo IP going forward. That's the reality of the situation we're in. That's the reality of what we're seeing, is that we're seeing Star Fox become this big A-list Nintendo IP again. Just like Donkey Kong, just like Pikmin, a lot of these Nintendo franchises that were typically written off and ignored, stuff like Fire Emblem, stuff like Splatoon, stuff like Animal Crossing, Pokemon, really. You're seeing more and more that these things are A-listers, okay? They're not niche B-list games, okay? They are bigger than Metroid in a lot of cases. This is something that we do really need to spell out for people, because I don't think people understand this, because so many people are still stuck in that mindset that I only care about 3D Mario and I only care about Zelda. Nintendo this generation seems to be intent on pushing a lot of their dormant IPs. Bonanza, I think, is just going to be the start. We've already seen signs that F-Zero is coming back, and now we're seeing Star Fox coming back. So, again, this is kind of the end result of what's been happening for the past decade. This is what bitching about Star Fox Zero got you, is that Star Fox has come back bigger than ever.